In a beautiful village called NYSC in Agwato local government area of Anambra State, there lived a young handsome guy called Tochukwu, which means praise God in Igbo language. He was the only surviving son of Mr. and Mrs. Obane. Tochukwu was brought up in the ways of God since the father was a Catholic priest. Tochukwu grew up very strong in the things of God. He was humble and intelligent, however, very curious to find answers to new questions or things. Few years later, Tochukwu had finished his secondary school education with a flying color. He had about 8 A's in his West African examination. He also wrote JAMB the same year and scored 378, making him the best in the state and second in Nigeria. Tochukwu was offered admission to study law in a prestigious university in western part of Nigeria. The parents were so happy, at least their only surviving son is going to become a lawyer soon. As the weeks turned into months and months into years, Tochukwu was doing exploits in his studies. He is among the best 3 students in his class. This attracted so many respect and love to him from his mates and lecturers. 6 years later, Tochukwu graduated from university with first-class degree in law. That same year, he was called up for National Youth Service Corps. However, the parents of Tochukwu never loved the idea of a child finishing higher institution and then serving the country for another year. They see it as a waste of time. They advised Tochukwu to forget about National Youth Service Corps, popularly known as NYSC, and pick up the job offered to him by International Human Rights Organization. All their effort to convince their son proved abortive, since Tochukwu has already planned how his service year would be. Later that month, Tochukwu got a text message that his call-up letter is ready. Tochukwu rushed to a business center and printed his call-up letter. He was posted to southern part of Nigeria. He was excited, at least. "Mom and Dad, I am close to our state," he said to his parents. The next day, Tochukwu packed his clothes and other accessories and journeyed to the south for the compulsory 3 weeks orientation camp. Tochukwu arrived the orientation camp safely. During the usual 3 weeks orientation camp, the corps members were taught to be careful with their movements and their relationship with the villagers in their respective place of primary assignments. They were taught to be of good conduct in course of their service to their fatherland. As the days goes by, it's already 3 weeks. The orientation camp was over. Corps members were handed letters of posting to their respective local governments to render their service in their place of primary assignments. Tochukwu opened his letter and discovered he was posted to Gwara village in Ekpoka local government area of the state. Tochukwu immediately packed his belongings in the hostel and joining immediately to the village, since the village was rumored to be a bit far from the city. Tochukwu arrived the village the same day at about 4:30 p.m. The village was beautiful, and then there is a peculiar thing Tochukwu observed as he walked through the streets. Tochukwu observed that every house he passed has at least a shrine and a terrifying image around it. He never saw any single church in the village. He became furious about his observation. Later that day, Tochukwu got to the school he was posted to, and the school principal welcomed him very well and instructed the head boy to take him to the corpers lodge. 2 weeks later, Tochukwu was still curious and still thinking about the village settings, the shrine, every compound. the human score on the street, women going to farm at night, and the absence of church in the village. He was very curious and eager to explore the village. He wanted to know what is going on. Tochukwu was called one early morning by an old woman. The old woman said, "Good morning, my son." Tochukwu greeted, "Good morning, ma." The woman said, "Please, listen, my son. I want you to be careful. I want you to be careful with your movement and what you eat in this village." She warned him of the dangers that lay outside their village. She taught him the importance of respect and obedience to the people and their tradition. Tochukwu thanked her and said, "I will just do as you said, ma." One fateful evening, as the sun dipped into the horizon, Tochukwu fellow corps members told him about a mysterious night secret ritual that is always performed by the masquerade group in the village. They said strangers are not allowed to see or even go close to where the ritual is happening. There is also a rumor of magic and resurrection of the dead during the festival. Tochukwu looked at them and said, "Don't mind them. They believe in fetish things. I am going to see that festival and nothing will happen to me." Despite the old woman's warning to Tochukwu, Tochukwu's curiosity got the better of him. "Tochukwu, do not go to that place." One of the female corps members named Amara cautioned him and told him about a dream she had a night ago and how a corps member died during the village festival in her dream. But Tochukwu would not listen. He sneaked out of the corpers' lodge that night alongside his friends. He sat racing with excitement and made his way to the evil forest where the rituals is happening. The forest entrance was guided by a towering figure with glowing eyes. As Tochukwu and his friend drew closer to the forest, immediately the cloud turned bloody, and a voice like that of a roaring lion said, "Welcome, my son. What is your name?" Tochukwu stammered, I am Tochukwu from the village, a corps member." "Ah, a corps member seeking tree and spear. Very well, enter," the ghost said. As Tochukwu stepped into the forest, the place bubbling with music that is beyond human comprehension and dazzling light that looked beautiful to the eyes of Tochukwu, he danced and laughed, forgetting the old woman's warning. But with each passing moment, the music grew louder and the shadow darker. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadow. It was the spirit of the forest, angry and powerful. "Tochukwu, you have defied our land and disobeyed the laws of the land and disturbed the balance between the living and the dead," the spirit thundered. "Your punishment is death." Tochukwu tried to flee, but it was too late. The spirit struck him, and he fell to the ground. While his friends flew immediately, since they did not enter inside the forest, but standing by the pathway to the forest. The next morning, Tochukwu's parents got the sudden news and went in search of him. They arrived the village very early in the morning and went straight to the paramount ruler, who sent some elders alongside the village chief priest in search of Tochukwu, but he was nowhere to be found. They followed him straight to the evil forest, accompanied by the village elders, where they discovered his lifeless body. But something strange happened immediately. Tochukwu's parents set their eyes on their lifeless son. Tochukwu's body immediately turned to a pillar of salt with half human body and the other part a lion's body. The villagers mourned Tochukwu's death, and his parents wept for their disobedient son. From that day forward, no corps member has been posted to Gwara, and the villagers always use Tochukwu's story as a caution to disobedient children. Tochukwu's story is a cautionary story of the danger of disobedience. Remember, Tochukwu story, the elders will say, obey your parents and respect the tradition of our land, lest you suffer the same punishment. This is Africa. Respect our culture. It is our heritage. And so, the legend of Tochukwu and his youth service lived on, a reminder to African children of the importance of obedience, respect to elders, and the tradition of the land. What do you make up of Tochukwu's story? Drop your comment on the comment section. Subscribe, like, and share for more African stories.